Question. Do you think parents are to blame for the lack of confidence and risk-taking in young persons? But have you heard of a game called Jungle Gym?
Nigel Cecil, calling things out as you like it, especially for his fair-minded friends.
Hello, Chakabouties. Thank you for joining me, moi, Nigel Cecil, entertainment entrepreneur, responding as I invariably do to questions, observations and comments sent in by you, my very welcome viewers. And the question for this video, chosen by Hilary, thank you Hilary for helping moi, do you think parents are to blame for the apparent lack of confidence and risk-taking in young persons? That's the question. What do you think? Well, this question arises because a few days ago, some of the national press analysed and reported on a survey undertaken by the British Exploring Society. And they canvassed and asked the opinions of their younger persons. And what came back was this overarching feeling that parents are to blame. Their parents are to blame because they lack confidence and they lack the ability to really want to take risks. Well, what do I think? Well, I have to say, I don't think the parents are to blame because it's the system. It's who and what educated their parents. Now, believe it or not, I'm a baby boomer. And as a baby boomer, my mind goes back quite a few years when the idea of not taking risks, that never happened to us because when I was at school with my pals, risk-taking, that's why I asked, have you heard of the game called Jungle Gym? Because when we were in the gym, yes, we're actually exercising, it was always fun when the PE teacher said, Jungle Gym time, you've all been exercising well. Now, Jungle Gym meant that all the climbing frames, all the wall fixtures, the ropes from the ceiling, the vaulting horses, the benches, you name it, they were all arranged in the gym. And the rules were you had to avoid being caught by Jungle Gym. And so you could jump anywhere you wanted as long as you didn't touch the floor. So that meant leaping from a vaulting horse to a rail on the wall, to climbing up the ropes, to swinging anywhere you could. So when the whistle blew, and it was always Jungle Jim to start with, was always the most agile, athletic person in the whole form. And off we went. And if you got caught, then you joined Jungle Jim's team until there was only one or two left in the whole form trying to escape, so everyone was piling into them. You were up the rope, you were down the rope, you were across the ladder, you were everywhere. It was mayhem. And some who weren't actually on an opposite side, all joining in. What a wonderful experience. And the key thing, before it began, the gym teacher, the PE teacher, always explained about risk. You have to be careful. Think before you leap. Think before you jump from there to there. Critical thinking to assess risks. And is that taught today? Oh, no. We have to be careful. We have to be careful. We must make sure nobody gets hurt. But life itself is a risk because there's one certainty, isn't there? Life will end in your death. One of those unfortunate things. So unless the ability to take risks, the critical thinking of when you should take a risk is developed when you're young, and I suspect parents now of today's Generation Z and even younger are being taught, no, you mustn't let them take risks. They mustn't take risks. And of course, if that ends up being that case, well, everyone is going to say, well, and it sort of nullifies the enthusiasm that young persons have. I mean, well, When you think about it, I can also remember my form teacher saying, now, if you do something stupid, then I'm not immediately going to tell you off, because what young people have is an enquiring mind. And we must be careful to encourage the enquiring mind. You mustn't start putting barriers in place that immediately frustrate the ability of somebody to be creative through their enquiring mind. And who is the state? Who are these quangos who say, oh, no, 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 you shouldn't let them do that. That's dangerous. And I recall one example my form teacher said, if you put your hand in that fire, you are going to get burnt. Now, do you believe the teacher, or do you say, I'm just going to try it? Oh, I got burnt. An inquiring mind, and the ability then to assess what others are saying to you and develop your creative thinking, knowing about what risks you can take. And arts and culture is all about that, challenging the inquiring mind and enabling it to develop. Indeed, when you think of Thomas Edison, well, invented the light bulb. And there were those who would say, well, look at all the failures that Thomas Edison had. All those failed experiments trying to invent the light bulb. But Thomas Edison said, no. They weren't failures. They were all steps along the path to success. An inquiring mind, a creative mind. And to finish us off, have you heard that phrase, let the children eat dirt? Well, only a few years ago, some creatives, professor type persons, I think in America, wrote a book, Let the Children Eat Dirt, because that's how you develop your immunity. You actually, if you're shielded from risks all the time, when are you going to have the confidence to take a risk? So the overall question that was asked by the British Exploring Society, well intentioned, and it got an answer that appears to be credible. But one has to say, is the recently previous education system and the current education system preventing those going through it to be able to develop their creative minds to assess risks, which gives them the confidence to go forward? And how things have changed. Because I can remember years ago as a trainee teacher at Edge Hill College, as it was then, we were taught to develop creative minds, creative risk-taking, assess it all. So each and every one of you, keep those creative minds, risk-taking, development creative minds going. So necessary so we can progress forward in life. All the best, and please assess your risk carefully, and please join me again. Thank you.